Alright, I don't even know how to begin this, my hands are literally shaking as I write this down. I haven't slept properly in days. What I'm about to tell you, it's real, at least, I think it is. I lived it, I saw it, and after what happened, I quit, just like that. I walked out and never looked back. I won't even walk past that hotel now, not for anything. I won't tell you my name, I won't tell you where this happened, I can't, I need to stay anonymous, but I have to share this story, because maybe, just maybe, someone out there has seen something like this too. So, here's how it all started. I'm just a regular guy, late 20s, maybe early 30s, things were tight financially, and I needed a job, fast. That's how I ended up working night security at this average, mid-tier hotel. It wasn't fancy, not even close, but it was decent enough, functional, clean, a steady trickle of guests passing through. My shift ran from 11 at night to 7 in the morning, and let me tell you, those hours can mess with your head. Most of the time, nothing happened, absolute silence, once in a while. Some drunk guest would stumble in late or complain about their TV not working, but mostly boredom. My job was basically this: sit in a tiny room next to the front desk and watch the security camera feeds. Every now and then I'd do a walkthrough, hit the hallways, check the lobby, make sure everything looked normal. We had a logbook to write down anything weird, a phone for internal calls, and a handful of monitors showing camera footage of the lobby, the entrances, the bar, if open, hallways on each floor, even the garage. But here's the weird thing, and this detail is key: there was no camera inside the elevator itself. Now, you might think, really? That's kind of a big oversight. Yeah, that's what I thought too. One night, early on, I asked my supervisor about it. He shrugged and said, the owner didn't want to pay for it. He says, what's anyone gonna do in an elevator? It's 30 seconds up or down, classic penny pincher logic, right? Looking back now, if we had a camera inside that elevator, maybe I could have figured it all out sooner, or maybe, I would have lost my mind completely. Anyway, things went normally for the first couple months, but then I started noticing something very strange, and this is where it all begins. It was around 2:30 in the morning, a few months into the job. I was glued to the monitors as usual, eyes flicking from screen to screen. That's when I saw this guy walk in through the lobby doors. Looked completely normal, mid-40s or so, plain shirt, slacks, nothing unusual about him, thinning black hair, one of those faces you forget 2 seconds after seeing. He pressed the elevator button, waited, stepped in when it arrived. I looked over at the elevator movement panel, just a simple screen showing which floor the elevator was on. The number lit up, 4, okay, so he's headed to the 4th floor. I glanced at the hallway cam for that floor, waiting to see him come out. Except, he didn't. I stared at the screen, the elevator door opened, I could tell from the light spilling into the corridor, then it closed again, but no one stepped out. I rewound the footage just to be sure, watched it frame by frame, same thing, he entered the elevator, and never came out. Weird, right? I figured maybe I missed him somehow, maybe he got off quickly and slipped out of the camera's blind spot. But that didn't make sense. The camera covered the whole hallway, or maybe he changed his mind and went to a different floor. So I checked the elevator's movement log. It showed it went down to the 2nd floor shortly after stopping on the 4th. I checked the 2nd floor hallway cam, still no one came out, then it returned to the lobby. And no sign of him. It was like, he vanished. I sat there trying to make sense of it. Maybe I was overtired, maybe there was a glitch in the feed, but then, just a couple nights later, it happened again. Same man, or someone who looked exactly like him. Came in through the lobby, calm as ever, got into the elevator, picked a floor. Once it was the 3rd floor, another time it was the 5th, each time, the same exact thing happened. The elevator would reach the floor, the doors would open and close, and no one would come out. Not once. I even rewound the footage, again and again, trying to catch something, anything, but there was nothing. This guy, he just kept disappearing. And you won't believe what happened next. This is when things stopped being weird and started becoming seriously disturbing. I couldn't explain what I was seeing anymore. It was no longer just an odd glitch or a strange guest. Something was wrong, deeply wrong, and it all centered around that man, the one who seemed to appear and disappear at will. I started paying close attention whenever he showed up on the cameras, and what I noticed next. It shattered any sense of logic I had left. One night, I saw him enter the hotel at exactly 1 a.m., he walked into the lobby, calm as ever, pressed the elevator button, and stepped in. When it arrived, the floor indicator lit up. 6. Okay, so far, standard procedure. But here's where it got messed up. 2 minutes later. I saw him exiting the elevator, back in the lobby, just walking out like nothing had happened, but the elevator panel still showed it was on the 6th floor, no descent, no movement. The elevator had supposedly gone up, but somehow, he'd come out of it without it ever coming back down. That wasn't just strange, that was impossible. And then, another time, I saw him come out of the elevator at 3 a.m., just strolled out into the lobby. I thought, okay, I'll watch the front door camera now, let's see where he goes. But he didn't go anywhere. I kept my eyes glued to every single monitor, front door, hallways, bathrooms, lounge areas, nothing. He didn't leave, he didn't sit down, he didn't even walk out of frame. It was like he just evaporated the moment he stepped off the elevator. 15 minutes later. I saw him entering through the main door again. My stomach dropped. Where had he gone during those 15 minutes? He hadn't exited the building, he hadn't walked into any area covered by the cameras. It was like he'd walked out of reality itself and just returned. I started spiraling, my mind was spinning with questions that had no answers. I stopped thinking about anything else. Night after night, I sat there, obsessively watching the screens, waiting for him to appear, and sometimes, he did. No pattern, no schedule, he'd show up on random nights at random hours. I asked around, quietly. I described him to the morning and afternoon shift guys, even the cleaning crew. You ever see a guy like this? Comes in alone at weird hours? They all gave me the same answer. Nope, no one recognized him. Reception had no records of anyone staying alone that matched the description. I even skimmed through the guest logbook. Nothing, the guy didn't exist on paper. So I went deeper. I started pulling archived footage, past nights, whole weeks. I combed through hour after hour of grainy footage just to catch a glimpse of him, and every time I found him, the same bizarre pattern repeated. He'd enter the elevator would go to a floor, but no one would get out. Or he'd step out of the elevator in the lobby and then appear entering through the front door a few minutes later without ever leaving the building. It was like he existed outside of the hotel's physical rules. One night, I'd had enough. I decided I was going to confront him. I had to know who he was, I had to speak to him. It was around 2:30 a.m., I was in the security room, eyes fixed on the monitors like always. That's when I saw him. He entered through the main door, just like all the other nights. My heart started pounding. I bolted out of the room and made my way to the lobby. There he was, walking calmly toward the elevator, like he'd done a dozen times before. "Sir." I called out, "Excuse me." Nothing. He didn't even flinch, just kept walking like I wasn't there. I rushed up behind him, more forcefully this time. "Sir. Please. Just a moment, I need to speak with you." He turned his head slightly, just as the elevator doors were sliding open. And when he looked at me, man, I don't even know how to describe it. His face wasn't angry, it wasn't scared, it wasn't even confused. It was blank, hollow, like he wasn't really there, like his eyes were looking through me, not at me. He stepped inside. I tried to follow, I reached out to stop the door from closing, but I swear, the moment I stepped forward, it felt like I hit a wall of air, pressure, something invisible but heavy. I stumbled backward, and the doors slid shut in my face, first the automatic one, then the old manual gate with a deep thunk. I stood there frozen, staring at the closed doors. A cold chill crawled up my spine. I looked at the floor panel above the elevator. It wasn't showing anything, no floor lit up, but I could still hear the elevator's mechanical hum. It was running, but it wasn't going anywhere. I ran back to the control room and checked every camera, every floor. No elevator activity, no movement at all. Even the control panel inside the room showed nothing. The elevator wasn't registering on the system, as if it had disappeared. I stared at the monitors for what felt like forever. Then I heard it, the ding. The elevator had returned. I snapped my head to the lobby camera, and there he was, the man, calm as ever, stepping out of the elevator like nothing had happened, no rush, no hesitation, just that same empty, blank gaze. He walked through the lobby and right out the front door. Gone. I was shaking. The elevator had never moved, at least not according to the system, and yet, he'd somehow gone somewhere. Somewhere I couldn't see. Somewhere that elevator could go that shouldn't exist. And that was only the beginning. After that night, I didn't sleep. Not even a minute. My shift ended, but my mind stayed trapped inside that elevator. I kept replaying it, over and over. How could he appear, disappear, reappear? Was he even human? Was I seeing a ghost? A glitch in reality? Or was I the glitch? I tried to be logical. Maybe I was hallucinating from lack of sleep, maybe the elevator system had some kind of bizarre malfunction, but no theory could explain what I'd seen with my own eyes, not when the floor indicators didn't light up, when the cameras recorded nothing, when the man came out of nowhere, and left without ever leaving. No, logic was no longer useful. So the next night, I made a decision. If I wanted to find out the truth, I had to experience it myself. I waited, just like before, sitting in the security room, jittery, palms sweating. Around 2 a.m., I saw him, his shadowy figure entering through the main door once again. I didn't hesitate. I walked out into the lobby and acted like I was busy near the reception desk, pretending to sort some paperwork, but my eyes were locked on him. He walked the same path, same calm stride, pressed the elevator button. The elevator was already in the lobby. The door opened. He stepped forward, and in that split second, I moved, 2 fast steps and I slipped in behind him, just before the doors closed. My heart was in my throat. I stood in one corner, he stood in the other, neither of us spoke, he didn't even look at me. It was like I didn't exist. He faced the door, blank and motionless. The elevator doors closed with a hiss. That's when I noticed something unsettling. He hadn't pressed a floor button. Neither had I. And yet the elevator moved. But it didn't feel like it was going up or down. No, this was something else entirely. It felt like the whole box was sliding sideways, maybe even rotating. I couldn't tell. The air inside got heavy, and the soft humming sound turned into a deeper metallic grind. The lights flickered violently and dimmed to a pale orange glow. My skin prickled with cold sweat. I turned to him. He was still staring ahead, completely still, that same empty look. I tried to speak. Who are you? What is happening? My voice barely came out. It was like the air in the elevator was thick, choking. No answer, no blink, just silence. And then the elevator slammed to a stop. Not a gentle floor halt, no, this was like someone yanked the emergency brakes in a speeding car. I stumbled back and hit the wall, the lights cut out, darkness swallowed us. And then a faint glow returned. Dim, flickering, barely there. I was breathing hard, heart racing, when I heard it. A sound from outside the elevator. Not people, not footsteps, not anything natural. It was like wailing, sirens made of human voices, high-pitched, shrill cries layered over each other in a chaotic, discordant rhythm, like some alien language made of screams, rhythmic but not musical, terrifyingly alive, like it was trying to speak. Then, the elevator doors began to open. But not like normal, slowly, painfully, metal grinding against metal, shrieking the whole way. Every inch they opened, the sounds outside got louder, closer. And the light. It wasn't the white glow of a hotel corridor. It was red, dim, almost like it came from a dying sun, mixed with this eerie blue haze, like twilight in a place that had never seen daylight. I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe. My whole body froze as the doors slid open just enough for me to see outside, 2, maybe 3 hand widths. And what I saw on the other side. I'll never forget. It wasn't a hallway, it wasn't even part of the hotel. It was something else entirely. The floor outside looked like it was made of liquid, thick, black water that shimmered and rippled in slow motion, like oil floating on glass. Above it, a swirling sky of red and blue vortexes, no ceiling, no walls, just an infinite, fog-choked expanse, and that fog, it moved like it was alive. Then I saw them. Shapes in the mist. Tall, thin, swaying in unnatural rhythms, their limbs moved like they had joints in the wrong places, or in every place. I couldn't see them clearly, but their presence made my bones ache. They were the ones making the sounds. Their screams overlapped like conversations, high, low, pulsing and broken. It wasn't just noise, it had intent, a language, not for humans, something ancient and alien. My brain tried to make sense of it, but the meaning felt wrong, like it was undoing my thoughts from the inside out. It was as if the sounds were trying to reach into my mind and pull it apart. I wanted to scream, to back away, to do anything. But I couldn't move. And beside me, the man just stood there. Still, silent. As if he belonged to that place. Or came from it. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, I saw them. Figures, human figures, standing motionless in that fog, or at least, they had been human once. They were scattered throughout the shimmering black surface, like statues frozen mid-thought. None of them moved, none of them made a sound, but their eyes, God, their eyes, they were completely white, no irises, no pupils, just blank, pale orbs staring in random directions. Their mouths were slightly open, each of them caught in a silent, eternal scream. They were wearing ordinary clothes. One man in a wrinkled business suit. A woman in a simple summer dress. Another man in a traditional galabeah. People, normal people, like someone had plucked them from everyday life and dumped them into this nightmare realm, and then turned them off, as if their souls had been vacuumed out, leaving behind only husks, still standing, still staring. And a thought struck me, cold and sharp. Was the man beside me in the elevator, one of them? Or was he something worse? Some kind of traveler between worlds? A guide? Or maybe a collector? All of that flooded into me in a matter of seconds, but it felt like time stretched. I could feel the cold seeping into my bones, a kind of chill that wasn't just physical. It was like my entire existence was being unraveled, like I'd seen something no human mind was meant to comprehend. I felt nauseous, like my soul itself was trying to vomit. And then the doors began to close. Slowly, painfully, that same awful metallic screech. As they shut, the fog faded, the siren-like wails receded, the strange, unholy light dimmed and disappeared, and all the while, the man, that man, just stood there, unbothered, unblinking, as if none of what we saw was remotely unusual. The doors sealed shut. And we were back in the dim, flickering glow of the elevator's weak lights. The strange movement started again, not up, not down, just away. Somehow, the metal groaned, the air felt heavy. I slumped against the wall, trembling so badly I could barely keep my legs under me. And still, he didn't move, not a step, not a glance. Finally, the elevator stopped. This time, the ding sounded normal, the grind was gone, the inner door slid open, the lobby lights spilled in, the familiar yellow warmth, the faint hum of the air conditioner, the gentle scent of polished floors. Just like that, everything was back to normal. The man stepped out. No hesitation, no second glance. He walked toward the main entrance in the exact same way he had every other night, exited through the front doors, and vanished down the street. I stayed inside that elevator. Frozen. My legs didn't work, my thoughts wouldn't line up. I felt like my body was still stuck between worlds, even though my feet were planted on familiar tiles. The images I saw, those white-eyed people, they wouldn't leave me. Eventually, I stumbled out. Somehow made it back to the security room. I dropped into the chair, shaking, drenched in cold sweat. I stared at the monitors, at the elevator control panel. It all looked so normal, just another quiet night at the hotel. Except it wasn't. Not for me. I sat there for what felt like an hour, could have been 5 minutes, could have been a lifetime. I kept asking myself, what was that? Where did the elevator go? And that man, was he part of it? A traveler? A resident? And those people with the white eyes? Were they just unlucky guests who stepped in at the wrong moment? Or had they been me once? That was it, I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't even wait for my shift to end. I scribbled out a resignation note, left it on the front desk, and walked out without looking back. I didn't care if it was 4 a.m. or if someone saw me. I just wanted to get out of that place. As I walked down the street, I swear I could feel something behind me, watching, following, and in the silence of the night. I could still hear it. That sound. Those horrible, layered screams. That language I couldn't understand, but somehow still felt. Since that night, I haven't been the same. I can't sleep properly. Every time I close my eyes, I see that red and blue sky swirling above me. I hear those sounds echoing in the back of my mind, like they're trying to call me back. I avoid elevators at all costs now, even escalators make me nervous. I've come to believe something awful, something I wish I didn't. That what we call reality is thin, fragile, like paper, and beneath it, just on the other side, there are other places, watching, waiting, intersecting with ours at rare, horrifying moments. That elevator was a doorway. And I stepped too close. I'm writing this now not for fame, not for sympathy, and definitely not to scare anyone for fun. I'm writing this because I have to get it out of my system, to tell someone, anyone, maybe someone else out there has seen something similar, maybe this isn't the only place where this is happening. I won't tell you who I am, I'm not looking for attention. But if you ever find yourself in a hotel, and there's an elevator that seems off, one that doesn't follow logic, one that gives you a strange feeling in your gut, don't take it. Walk away, don't ask questions, don't follow anyone into it. Because you might not be heading up a few floors. You might be heading somewhere else entirely. And trust me, you don't come back from that kind of ride the same.